If you have ongoing exposure to controlling people, it's a virtual certainty that you're going to experience blurry boundaries, which is why I've created the extensive online course called This Is Me, Establishing Boundaries with the Controllers in Your Life. There's a link below that will give you all of the details, and I hope that you would find it therapeutic. I've mentioned in other videos how narcissists like to speak with you in ways that keep you emotionally dysregulated, and one of their favorite tactics is using questions that are not exactly straightforward kind of questions. Narcissists are the consummate gaslighters. They want to keep you in doubt about the validity of your thoughts and feelings and interpretations. Ultimately, they want you to acquiesce to them, and so the more confusion they can create in you, the better off for that goal. They want to keep you in a subordinate position. Now, today I want to highlight 7 very common questions that these individuals can ask you that's a part of this gaslighting attempt on their part. And the more you're aware of this and you realize that they have hidden motives with each one of these questions I'm going to identify, then the less inclined you're going to be to get sucked into all the manipulation that goes with it. Now, one of the primary questions that narcissists can either ask or insinuate is simply this: don't you trust me? Now, let's suppose that you have some sort of difference, or there's a project that you're working on and you want to discuss procedures, or there's a decision that was made and you're not exactly on the same page. That happens in virtually any relationship. And you say, well, why don't we talk? And they go straight to that question. Well, don't you trust me? What they're really saying is accountability is something I don't like. In fact, what I'm wanting is for you to just simply be one of my flying monkeys. Let me take over the decision-making process. If I want your opinion, I'll ask you for it, but just be my flying monkey. Be somebody that does what I want to do and go along with me, and you and I are going to get along just fine. They consider your opinions or your thoughts and feelings to be a nuisance. You are a nuisance. Don't you trust me? A second very common question that they often use is, so do you think you're better than me? Now again, let's suppose that you have different thoughts and ideas and feelings and perceptions you're needing to discuss. What that question does is it puts the communication into a competitive position. Which one of us is better? Which one of us is lower? Do you think that you should be elevated to the better position, that you're somehow or another going to win over me? And just the use of their terminology is their way of saying, I don't look at you as a relationship. I look at you as part of the competition. And in my rule book, you don't win. Whenever you disagree, it just means that you have automatically placed yourself in the loser position. I don't want to know what you think. Didn't you get the memo? I think you're stupid. You start out below me from the very beginning. Remind yourself of that. Do you think you're really better than me? Okay, a third question that's quite common with these individuals, and that is, so why are you so angry anyway? Now, typically when you start into this process of trying to do problem solving and collaboration with that narcissistic individual, and it doesn't go well predictably because they're so thin-skinned and defensive and combative, then some tension, some frustration is going to begin building. They're going to pick up on it. It's like, this is my chance to jump in and put the shame onto you. And so when they say, why are you feeling so angry? More often than not, the correct answer would be because you're so difficult. But of course, they don't want to know that. All they're saying is, let's establish you are a problem. And they go into blame shifting. Rather than thinking, yeah, I know that sometimes I can be a difficult person, it's like, no, that's just not in the equation at all. You're the difficult person. If you have any kind of assertiveness, if you have any kind of boundaries or stipulations, ditch that, lay it all down, because ultimately I need to be the one that creates the rules around here. And if that makes you feel frustrated, then you have a problem. It certainly isn't about my maladaptive ways of managing anger, because I wouldn't have any kind of negative emotion at all if it weren't for you. That's how they think. Or what about a fourth one? And I'm almost certain that you've heard some variations of this one. And that is, what does it take to make you happy? Now, in this sense, what they're saying is, you're just a malcontent. Here you and I have differences, and anybody that I know would be happy to have me on their team telling them what to do. And you don't seem to be appreciative of all the wonderful things I bring. And of course, when they ask, what does it take to make you feel content? Actually, that wouldn't be a bad question if they meant it sincerely. But the healthy form of that question implies a curiosity, empathy, a willingness, a desire to know how to coordinate. And that's not where narcissists are coming from. Basically, they think you exist to make me feel content. And right now, you're not doing a very good job. And it must be because you're just some sort of dysregulated person from the inside out. What is it going to take to please you anyway? That's how they think. They want you to feel shamed. Or a fifth very common question, and that is, why are you always blaming me for your problems? Now, you'll notice that when they ask that kind of question, they're putting themselves in a victim's position. If you insinuate or let it be known that you don't think the same as them, then immediately it's like, hey, wait a minute. There's a problem here between you and me, and I'm not going to take any kind of blame for any kind of difficulty. And you're thinking, I'm not trying to communicate with you about who's more wrong and all the rest. I just want to have some collaboration here. And so when they say, so are you trying to blame me for your problems? The insinuation on your part is, well, relationships is a two-way street, is it not? And in their mind, it's like, no, we're not a team. I'm not a team player, and I don't have any particular need or consideration for your needs. Don't you remember that? A sixth common question that they come up with is, why should I listen to you anyway? Here you are, you're trying to bring your thoughts and needs and feelings to the table, and the unspoken message there is, empathy's overrated. You're wanting me to what? Understand you and know you from the inside out? Let's make it very clear. I tell, you listen. Why would I need to listen when we already have that rule established? I lost Gus on that one. That frustrates him too, doesn't it? The narcissist is like, no, just remember, I have low regard for you. I have a low level of respect. Why should I listen to someone who is worthy of just being discounted and invalidated? That's what I really think about you. Or how about a seventh question? And that is, do you know what people think about you behind your back? Now, the implication there is that what they're trying to do is they're trying to make you feel very unsteady, like, well, it's not just me that has a poor opinion of you or finds you difficult. It's everybody. Now, there's a real high probability if you're being asked that question that that narcissist has already gone behind your back and has said all sorts of unflattering things about you. And so then they can perhaps gather up some comments that other people have made. It's like, yeah, there are all sorts of unflattering things being said about you. In fact, don't need to tell you, but I'm leading the charge on that one. And so basically they illustrate that their public life is all about building their image. And if they have to do that at your expense, then so be it. They're quite willing to do that. So we go back to these kind of loaded questions where they're asking you these kind of things as a means of keeping you in a subordinate position. I'm hoping you can see it for what it is, and it's part of them trying to prop up their weak egos and their neediness. They need to be special. They need to be the most important person in the equation, which means that they always have to have somebody who's the scapegoat who is to blame for whatever problems they have, and that scapegoat is going to be you. Be careful that you don't get caught in meaningless debates when they ask you these questions. Instead, know what you believe about yourself, and I hope that you have a solid understanding of who you are and what your healthy ingredients are. And when they start asking these kind of questions that are not meant for true healthy discussion, let it be known, okay, look, what I will do is I'm not going to discuss meaning or motive behind this, because you're just going to use that as a reason to trip me up. Here are my boundaries. Here are my stipulations. This is how I intend to proceed. These are the things I want you to know. And then when they say, well, that means nothing to them, let it be known, well, it means something to me. And you just stick with your own healthy initiatives anyway, knowing that the best move for you is to have the least amount of interaction and engagement with that person as you can get away with. It's unfortunate that narcissists don't look at you as a relationship. They look at you as a transaction. It's like, okay, I get it. And all this use of these loaded questions lets me know that you're not looking at me with a healthy motive. You're just looking for someone to be your a person that you can put all your junk onto. No, thank you. I'm not willing to carry that load. I'm not going to play that role with you. And I hope that videos such as this give you some good insight into what you're dealing with, and that you have to know that you've got manipulators in front of you. That being the case, it's like, okay, thanks, but I don't play the counter manipulation game. If you've not already subscribed, I would encourage you to hit that subscribe bell or button, and then there's a bell that goes along with that, and hit that, and we'll get more videos coming in your direction. If you have a need for counseling, and many times as you see these kind of patterns there, you could use somebody that could help you unpack this. If you have someone in your area, I would encourage you to do that. Or right now, online counseling is very popular, and we have a sponsor that we have a link for below, and there's a whole team of licensed professional experienced counselors that you could choose from. And if that would be a need that you would have, I would strongly encourage you to go into that direction. In addition, we have my courses, and these are more than just one-time webinars, although we have those too that are quite good. But with the courses, we have multiples of videos with written material, and then personal reflections questions that are meant to have a therapeutic angle that you could gain from. So if that's the case, we have This Is Me, Setting Boundaries, and Free to Be, Finding Yourself Despite the Controllers. Look into those, as well as other ways that you can find us on social media and books, etc. Plenty of stuff below. All right, know that they're going to be asking you loaded questions, and I'm hoping that you can think, wait a minute, I'm onto this. I am not playing that game. And as you're able to maintain your sense of steadiness and firmness about who you are, it keeps you away from their manipulative schemes. And it positions you to be that person of decency and dignity who's able to live in your personal place of peace. I do want you to find your peace.